Let's talk about internet dating. Okay, so I've been on a few sites in the past and I've learned a few things and I'd like to share them with you. Looking at OkCupid first, their algorithm matches you according to the questions that you answer on OkCupid, and OkCupid has over 5,000 questions that you could potentially answer. Some are downright silly. For example, what's your favorite color, or other things. I don't recommend you answer the silly questions. So you're allowed to say that you want, that the question is not very important to you, maybe okay important, or really important. And I would suggest that you only answer those questions that are really important to you. And that way, when you get a match with somebody, it'll be on those really important questions. So if you get an 89, 90% match with somebody, you know that they feel similarly to the things that are important to you. If you answer a bunch of silly questions, you're going to dilute your match. I have found the matches on OkCupid, the ones that, like I've got matches that are 99%, and usually it's somebody that feels politically the same way I do, on dating, on lifestyle. There's several categories of questions. One is about sex. I don't know how much you want to answer that. It's totally up to you, but reading the answers to other people's questions, not just what they chose, but there's an opportunity to answer every question. You can enter more information in a box below. A really good idea between the profile, which is your standard photos that people can upload, as well as the write-ups, and the answers to their questions, you get a really good idea, indication of what the person is actually like. So that's a great one. Match is different. It's misnamed, I think. You have to pay for Match. Its algorithm matches you on whether you both like the color blue, and you both like dogs, and you both have older kids. Guess what? You're 100% match with somebody. Really? Really, that's going to be what my life is based on? It's just silly. So it's a crapshoot. That being said, I've met some great people on Match. In my area, there isn't a lot of people on OkCupid, so Match is pretty much where the serious people go. I was on Plenty of Fish before, when I first became single, and that was overwhelming to say the least. The good thing about Plenty of Fish, and I haven't seen this on any other site, is that I was able to limit responses to me. So if someone was to write to me, I had a little, I had my settings so that they couldn't message me unless they had 100 words or more. This weeded out a lot of inarticulate people, because I like to write and I like to correspond back and forth before, meeting someone. So this really gave me a good indication of whether the person could carry a conversation or not, at least in writing. This might not be important to you, but for me it was really a godsend, because otherwise I was getting all these messages from guys going, hey, really? That's all you got? Hey? Which brings me to, okay, so now some general tips. So when it comes to messages, at first when you go on, you will get inundated because you're fresh meat. And then I used to feel that I had to respond to everybody. I now realize that there were a lot of people that were cutting and pasting, and you can tell if they don't mention one personal thing about you, supposing you put that you are really into horses and you'd like to own a stable one day. And that gives somebody an opening to say to you, hey, I really love horses too, and I see that you want to have a stable one day. Maybe we should buy one together, ha ha ha. Or just some reference to something that's in your profile. That's a really good sign. Those are more serious messages where I would look at the message, say, okay, that's a serious one. Go back, look at the person's profile, read it through. If I saw there was a deal breaker for me, if someone has an allergy to cats, that's a deal breaker for me. I love my cats. So I would just write, I would say, thank you for writing. I see you're allergic to cats. Not gonna work. I wish you all the luck. That kind of thing. One thing I watch when I'm looking at someone's profile, I'll look at the number of photos they've uploaded. If a person's uploaded 14 photos, all of themselves, that's usually going to tell you that this person is a bit either egocentric, narcissistic, something's wrong with that person. That's too many photos. Sometimes if they're an artist or something and they're uploading pictures of their art or whatever, you know, if they're traveling and they've uploaded travel shots or whatever, that's different. But you can kind of tell when you see pictures of a guy and he's like, here he is here he is there. Another red flag is if he's got a lot of shots of his car, of his motorcycle, of his house. That's probably a guy that's leading with his material side. If a guy has no photo, I wouldn't even respond. Usually a guy that has no photo is cheating on his partner, I would assume. If he has one photo, you can pretty much feel the same way, especially if you can't see his face very clearly, or it's a fraudster. I wouldn't respond to a guy that had one photo either. There is an exception to that. There are some people that have a public profile job, especially in a small town like ours, so they might not have photos, and they usually contact you first and say, you know, I noticed this in your profile. Again, a nice message. I'm sorry, I don't have many profile photos, but I would share photos with you if you're interested. It's just that I have a job that I would be recognized in the community, so I don't want to post too many photos here. That's different than somebody that's just, hey babes, everybody contact me, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just, you can tell, they're a more serious person, right? The other thing is, if somebody doesn't have very many photos and their write-up is really skimpy, delete. That person is not putting in a lot of effort. How much effort are they going to put into your relationship? Probably similar, you know, they're not going to put a hell of a lot of effort in. They couldn't be bothered, right? Couldn't be bothered taking a new photo. If it's all, you can tell the photos are old, like, you know what? The guy's just going off his camera or his phone and using old photos. He's not even going to bother taking new photos for this all-important journey that we're on here. Well, it doesn't strike me that, you know, he's kind of lazy. He doesn't strike me as a guy that's a go-getter. Not interested. Delete. You don't need that, right? A lot of guys will have a picture of themselves naked from the waist up. That just kind of, it's a turn-off to me. It's like, really? Really? You're gonna lead with that? And some of them, I don't even know why they do that, because it's, yeah. Another thing that I would weed out, somebody who even puts that they're 52, and when you see all their pictures together, they're obviously 60 plus. Delete. If you're gonna lie about that, now, forget it. Photos can tell you a lot. If you like a really sociable guy, you'll want to see photos where he's with his friends. If you want someone who's family oriented, look for a guy that's got his mom and his cousins and maybe his daughter with him. If you don't want a guy that's drinking all the time and then, you know, there's a bunch of pictures of him in pubs with beer, not going to be a good fit. If you see a guy and he's constantly just alone and looking scared or freaked out, you don't want a loner, you want someone more sociable, you're not going to probably be interested in that guy too much. There's a lot of things like that. I personally am shocked how many guys have motorcycles. Motorcycles scare me. And there's one guy that's dressed as a sad clown and he's got his marionette on one hand. And every time I see that guy, I go, once you've weeded it out and you've got it down to someone that you're talking to and they write back and you write back, you watch for this. Sometimes there's just an annoying way that they phrase things, or something they say kind of, it just doesn't sit right with you. Pay attention to that. I've really found that if I'm going to get along with somebody, I enjoy their messages back and forth. They seem to write at the right time. They don't leave me hanging so that I'm waiting 3 days and then finally they write again and go, oh, hey, I got super busy. Like, it just, you know, there's a nice back and forth. They're looking forward to my message. I'm looking forward to theirs. This is back and forth just a couple times. And then what should happen is, Marc Katz says this best. It's just like you go outside and you say, you know what, it's a little noisy in here. Do you want to step outside? Just, you know, continue our conversation. They say, here's my email address. Do you want to talk offline and through email? And that's a nice way. You get off the site and you can exchange more photos, easier, that kind of thing, back and forth, and have a better conversation. Quite often when they give you their email address, it's a business email address, or you find out their full name, and it's just a little bit more, it's a deeper connection. And if you write back and forth, then I would still suggest, before you meet this person, if you really want to save yourself time, have a phone conversation. Even one phone conversation, you'll be shocked. And trust your gut. You can tell when you're talking to them if you're having to make the conversation and they're not coming back with things, if they're not on the ball, if they sound a little freaked out. So you find out a lot. If the phone conversation goes well, then it really helps when you meet them. And of course, it's the same. There's lots of safety tips if you're scared. You want to meet somebody, you never want to tell them your full name. You never want to tell them where you live. You want to meet them, you want to get there yourself, meet in public, meet in daylight if you can, or wherever you feel safe. Tips to get you started on internet dating, and yeah, have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. It's actually, it can be kind of fun. It can be freaky too. But yeah, good luck and stay safe out there.